Hi guys, welcome back to Connor's Corner. Not sure how good the audio is. It's extremely windy out. The wind's blowing right at my face. But for today's video, I wanted to talk about what depression took from me, kind of go more into detail than I did last video about just how it felt daily and how it changed my life. I've been trying to find a nice spot to set up and have this chat with you guys, but the trail is really windy today. I really wanted to start going on hikes and stuff, but out in the woods and here in Newfoundland, it's still a lot of snow. And, all the trails would probably be pretty slippery. So when a lot of people talk about their depression, they usually say they lost their spark. And honestly, that's exactly how it felt for me. It just takes all the joy out of anything in life. I talked about this a bit last video, and I'd like to go a bit further into what that looked like for me. So one I talked a little bit about last video was fatigue, and towards the end of my depression, I suffered really badly with fatigue. And honestly, that took the joy away from doing things I used to enjoy doing, like going out and going on day trips with family and my partner, and going to stores and doing some shopping and exploring the city. At the time I lived downtown, and when I look back on the time, I wish I would have been able to spend more time exploring downtown, because downtown St. John's is such a beautiful spot, and I spent a lot of time just indoors. Another symptom that affected my life quite a bit is my loss of motivation. I wasn't working for a while, and I literally had no motivation to even look for a job. I completely lost my motivation to try to get better, to eat well, to exercise, and just generally take care of myself. There was absolutely no motivation to try to accomplish anything in my life. All the goals I had set for my future, like career-wise and health-wise and just life-wise, like getting a house and starting a family and all that, kind of just, I didn't care about it anymore. Depression just completely took away that motivation to work towards that. And any step to work towards that, just, it was like I didn't care. That's what people mean when they talk about that numbness. You're just completely numb to everything, like emotionally, motivationally. And to the people close to you, honestly, it kind of just looks like you stopped caring. And if they don't know that's depression, which my family and my partner at the time didn't, it kind of just looks like you gave up and you don't really care about them or yourself or life. And to people close to you, that can hurt. And I know it hurt the people close to me. Unfortunately, at the time, I couldn't explain it because I didn't know I was depressed. It's really hard to explain what you're going through when you're depressed and you don't know it. I would tell my partner that I couldn't go do things with her because I was so tired, and after a while, I feel like that probably just seemed like an excuse to not go do things and upkeep the relationship, right? Another aspect that impacted my life quite a bit was, it was almost like a combination of all the other symptoms. I completely lost joy in anything in my life because everything felt so heavy. Anything I think of that I enjoyed doing at that point in my life, I just didn't care. I couldn't do it. It was almost like I didn't care. It was really hard to enjoy those things when you're constantly fatigued and you can barely get out of bed in the morning. I used to really enjoy spending time with my partner, going out shopping and going on day trips, exploring Newfoundland and plenty of other things, right? But as my depression got worse, I just completely stopped enjoying any of that, and she would ask me to go do things, and probably 90% of the time I would just say no because I was fatigued. A lot of the time I was ashamed of just people seeing me in public. It felt like everyone in public was looking at me and they knew exactly my situation, how lazy I was and how much of a loser I was, and I just didn't want to be seen in public anymore. When my depression was really bad, honestly, I couldn't even really interact with anybody. I had to get my mom or my partner to, go through the drive-thru for me or talk to a worker in a store. I just felt like everyone was judging me, and that was extremely hard because I was really ashamed of my mental health. I didn't want to be inside all day just sitting on the couch or sitting on the computer playing video games. And at that point, I had been doing that for a couple of years. When I went to therapy the first time, what I wanted to work on in therapy was getting back to work. That's exactly what I told my therapist when I started working with her. I told her my anxiety is really bad and it's really hard to find a job and want to work because of my anxiety. So that's what we started working on. And unfortunately, she was not a good match for me. I didn't really make any progress with her. I haven't talked a whole lot about my relationship at this point in my channel, but one of the symptoms that impacted my relationship most was the emotional numbness. I was just completely numb. All of my emotions, all the good ones, all the bad ones. It was really confusing. There were times where I couldn't feel love for my partner anymore. Even though I knew in my head I still loved her, I couldn't feel it, and I didn't know why. I just couldn't feel any emotions, and when you can't feel any emotions, life almost feels pointless. And I really struggled with that for a while, and that caused me some shame too. I wondered why I felt that way, and I knew I shouldn't feel that way, but I didn't know what was going on with me. Looking back, I obviously should have reached out for help, but at that point I had withdrawn into myself, and I wasn't communicating with anybody, my family or my partner, and I'd kind of just shut down. Anytime they would come to me try to help, I would get extremely defensive, and I'd tell them I know I'm a loser and I know I should be doing better, but I can't, and I don't know why. And that's hard to hear for people that are close to you because they want to help you, and when they don't know what's going on, and when you don't know what's going on, how are you supposed to help someone when you don't really know what's going wrong? Looking back, I know I should have been in therapy, and I wish I would have gone to therapy at that time. But I was in a place where even getting out of the house was extremely anxiety inducing, and I couldn't do it a lot of the time. So yeah, depression really impacted my life. When I look back on that version of me, I was a completely different person. I like to think I'm a pretty nice individual, and I show love to my friends and family and people close to me, but I was just so numb. I was not the best version of myself. I would lash out on my partner and say mean and rude things to her, which I had never done before. And that was confusing for me as well. I'm sure it was confusing for her because the man she got to know and love all those years ago was completely different. And that period of my life was a really hard time. All the mental and physical exhaustion it just depleted me completely. I felt like I had no reason to live. So I didn't do anything to move towards goals and a good future. Like I said in my last video, depression stole years of my life, but the loss of my long-term relationship kind of started a series of events where I reached out for help, and I spent the last year getting better. And I'm not perfect by any means. I'm still working on a lot of things, but I've come a really long way, and now I'm excited for my future. I'm actually looking to the future, which I haven't done in quite a while, and it feels good. It feels nice to be able to look into the future without a lot of anxiety and honestly being scared of it. Let me know if any of you guys relate to anything I've talked about today. A lot of these are pretty common depression symptoms that I think a lot of people with depression go through, so I'm sure plenty of you can relate. I make these videos to hopefully show you guys that, life can get better. It takes a lot of work, but man, it's so worth it. Living that life of depression it's not fun at all. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, like I said. And my hope is if you're struggling with depression and the things I've been talking about, I hope you can get better, and maybe I can share some things that can help you out or give you hope. One thing that's changed a lot for me this year is gratitude, and I just want to spend a moment to look at the scenery behind me. I'm so grateful to be able to step outside my door. This is probably like a 15-minute walk away from where I live, and just being able to come out here and look at these landscapes it's just amazing. It really does a lot of positive things for your mental health to just be able to come out here and spend some time walking on the trail, listening to the waves. So that's it for my video today. I want to thank you guys for watching. It means a lot. I hope if you're going through something similar, this can make you feel less alone and help you move forward. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.